Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Mark's Gems. Welcome to the channel. If you're new, if you already subscribed, welcome back. It's been a while since I've created any content. Just going through the motions of life and making my transition into fatherhood, which has been an amazing journey for me because it's like now you have like a mini version of yourself that you get to care for and take care of, which is always beautiful. Um, but yeah, as I'm walking, I was just thinking to myself, you know, it was just something that I'm going through or experiencing that may be of value to you in terms of just making transitions in life and then, kind of having that faith to be able to know that everything is working out and that you are. What I learned is that, I'm 31 now. Most of the times, we want to have everything figured out, right? We feel like we have everything figured out. We feel like we have to know all the answers to all of these things. And if you're a person that overanalyzes like me and somewhat of a perfectionist, I can see why you may think that way. But what if I told you that movement brings you clarity, right? You don't have to conjure up this whole perfect situation. You just have to start moving in the direction of that thing that you want clarity on, and then God will reveal the next steps to you. Me personally, I'm in like a very transitional state or stage or chapter or whatever you want to call it of my life, where I don't even want to necessarily say I'm figuring everything out, but I'm at like the sweet spot to where God has given me all of the lessons and all of the wisdom and all of the experiences to carry over into the next phase of my life that will help me, fully align with what it is that He wants me to do. And I'm sure the same applies to many of you all. And more importantly, it's just being able to pay attention to the signs. And I don't want to be all over the place on this video, but I'll just give you guys a little bit of context of where I currently am. So currently right now I'm in Georgia, walking on this beautiful nature park. And I was in Charlotte for the last year, right? So God called me out of Georgia to move to North Carolina. And it was one of those situations, and this story will make sense. Like, it will make sense about movement and, just going with the plan and allowing your steps to naturally unfold, right? So let me back up a little bit to give you all more context. So 2023, I was still kind of figuring it out, but still had one foot in, one foot out, doing my thing in my hometown with like some real estate. Closed a couple deals, learned a couple things, met some amazing people. And, I had a vision. Well, actually, I started working at the airport for a little minute, and the training center was in Charlotte, North Carolina, right? So the hotel that we were at was, it was a nice hotel. Like, I'm not even gonna front, it was a nice hotel, but it felt so right, like when I was there, right? I was like, man, dang, I can really see myself living there, like living here. And that was around October of 2023. They ended up finally going there, and then it got even better. Ended up doing the training there, and then I think that was like the first seed that was planted. I was like, man, I can really see myself living here. It's a bigger city, and I can really see myself expanding in the real estate world, right? So I had the right idea all along. So ended up working at the airport for maybe 6 months or whatever, and then during that time, I was in one of those seasons where I'm messing around, BSing, and what came about shortly after is I cleaned up my act, right? Got my life together. This was like September. I want to say September. And then started doing my meditations, prayer, getting closer to pretty much reinventing myself and my identity. And short period after working at the airport, I still was doing the real estate, but I had an opportunity that came about that was like none that I've never had before. So it was kind of like one of those moments where everything came to fruition, where, like early in 2021, like a little bit after COVID, I'm doing all these affirmation boards and I'm writing down these financial goals that I want. And so this was basically like the realization of that goal that I set for myself, like 3 or so years prior. So that finally happened around February of 2024. And it honestly, I will say that it changed my life forever. In a like a mental block, financial type of way, right? It pretty much allowed me to push past any and every belief that I had about money and how to receive it. And it allowed me to experience a lot of different things. Now, what I will say, just me moving in the direction of it, I didn't have any attached to any outcomes or anything. I just, was doing everything I was doing this time. But this time, I believe that I really believed it. I didn't know how it was going to happen, but I believed that it would happen, and it did. Me hitting this financial goal in real estate. And further on throughout that year, things were really good. They start going even better. I wouldn't say consistently, but several large, big deals that I prayed about were manifesting. And the Charlotte idea came back up, right? Maybe around that summer. Yeah, maybe around that summer or August, was like, hey, you know what? Let me look at this Charlotte thing and, see if this can be a reality for me. So went apartment shopping in Charlotte, saw a few, applied for a few, wasn't really fully aligned with the one that I wanted to go to. And, so I was like, okay, well, let me get myself together and, do the things necessary that I need to do to be able to get approved for it. So, still practicing my faith, still going through the motions, keeping myself open to this opportunity. So fast forward 2025, moment finally comes, and opportunity presents itself again. This time I do get approved, and I'm like super stoked. Have all of these plans, all of these dreams, all of these aspirations to really, take everything to the next level, right? With this opportunity, right? And looking back, maybe a year ago or January, which when I had fully aligned with another goal of, I just said, 50 grand a month, $50,000 a month, came to me. It actually was like on my birthday, on my 30th birthday. Actually 2 days after, because I think it fell on like a weekend or whatever. But basically, I just say my birthday present. Landed a $50K deal, and just had so much things that I felt that I already knew. Like I already knew how I would spend it. I already knew how I would invest it. And I say all of that to say, a lot of times in life, God will sometimes in life, God will allow you to, he'll allow the blessing to come through. But that blessing will take you onto a whole nother path of growth that you didn't know you needed until you received it. And I say all that to say when I went to North Carolina, it became very challenging, right? A week before I moved, figured out I had a kid on the way. This is my first kid. Shit, don't know nothing about being a parent. So that was, very overwhelming in a sense. And also just the idea of being, providing, and it was just a lot, deals slowed down, but That wasn't anything new to me. It actually was something that was very normal, but I guess the pressure of, another life being responsible for that kind of put me in this space where I wasn't thinking clearly, right? And my time in Charlotte became like a lot of, I call it a very refining season, or like a wilderness season where nothing's clicking, but everything, all of the steps that I skipped out on the years before that were working could not go into this next season with me. Examples, saying that I'm a business owner, but not understanding fully how to set up my, not fully understanding what a business is, right? Paying your taxes quarterly, right? Understanding what that is, reinvesting, with structure, understanding what return on ad spend is, having your KPIs set up properly, just all of these things that us as small business owners we may think about, but okay, I'm gonna go back the other way. But a lot of these things that we skip over, right? Nobody taught me that. Nobody taught me what it takes to really run a business or be a business owner, right? Just get money, make money, right? And reinvest it to make more money. But it wasn't until I went to Charlotte to understand how important that structure is, and having all those things structured. And I'm thankful and glad that I did, because now I can carry those lessons over, right? Developing more patience, deepening and strengthening my relationship with God, was one of the other things. Practicing humility, right? A lot of people don't even know. No jobs were hitting for me there. Deals were not hitting for me there. And it was a very challenging season for me. Emotionally, spiritually, financially, you name it. I even ended up doing ride sharing just to make ends meet. And the bills, they start getting real. Like they still were coming. But God wanted to shape me into who I am now, to be able to share these things with you all, so that you all can maybe be able to easily identify what season you're in. And this goes back to the beginning when I was talking about movement and moving without faith. Like, I don't know why I didn't know why I was pulled to Charlotte before I went. I thought I was supposed to go there to, turn up and boss up, but my purpose for that season was just to go through that refining stage for what God has been preparing me for now, which is fatherhood, aligning more fully with my purpose, right? Which is inspiring other people who may feel like they haven't fully given up, but they don't know what to do, or they just need that extra motivation to keep moving forward with their life. Trust me, I know this shit get hard. It gets very difficult, and a lot of times I wanted to quit. When them bills start piling up and that money slow down, you gonna go back to what feels normal to try to escape that. For me, it was that drink, that alcohol, and that's not helpful at all. So I started getting back into my word. I met a guy up there. Shout out to Manny. He was very into his word. And for me, it wasn't about being perfect. It was more so about understanding who God is and leaning on him in a way which I haven't been leaning on him when I went into Charlotte, operating off of my own understanding, thinking that I had all the answers when I really didn't know anything. Because if I knew better, I would have understood what was happening during the time, knowing that I was being refined, knowing that God was working on me. But nonetheless, I'm thankful of all of the lessons and the fact that I took the leap of faith and moved there to become this person who I am now. Somebody who's a lot more resilient, a lot more strong, a lot more spiritually aware, a lot more spiritually mature. A lot more purposeful, moving with a lot more clarity. Before, when I started doing real estate, it was more so, how can I transact so I can put the money back into the system and grow it even stronger? Now it's more so, okay, we're not transacting, we're actually helping people who find it a little bit challenging to help themselves in these situations. And I had a lot of time to grow the patience to become a father and really focus on what's important to me, right? Which is my daughter, her health, her safety, and me having a stable and solid foundation. Before, it was very shaky. We have some big months and then it just was desert for the next 2 months. Now it's more so like, okay, if we have a big month, how do I make this stretch? How do I make sure that I have a emergency fund set up so I don't go through what I went through in Charlotte, overextended, hoping for the best? No, we're thinking more strategically now. You don't have kids, it's a lot easier to be like, oh, okay, well, we'll just see what happens. But kid, man, I tell you, learn the lesson from me before even having a kid. Make sure you have that emergency fund saved up. Oh, which I did, actually. I just couldn't access it. Make sure you have some liquid funds that you can have access to if some months get slow, especially if you're a business owner, right? Make sure you keep God first. Make sure you are constantly talking to him. Make sure that you're being consistent, right? Staying positive, keeping positive people around you. Walking, exercising, getting in nature. And most of all, like, don't lose hope, because that's what's going to get us to the next level. Like, every season, life is happening for us, right? It's not happening to us, happening for us. It's up to us to determine what it's trying to show us, who is asking us to become, right? And the sooner that we can understand that, the sooner we can get closer to it. Sooner we can get closer to who it is that we came here to be. So movement, whether it's walking, whether it's writing down those goals, using ChatGPT to create a plan, that's free. Anything is $20 a month. And I'm just here to say I get it. Like, even before the challenges in Charlotte, like, when I was going through, I was like, man, I felt like God was punishing me. And then when I got onto the back end of it, I realized how blessed I really was, how much favor God really had on my life during that time, how much I actually learned, who I became. Definitely not the same person I was a year ago. And, it also requires you to be able to integrate the lessons that he wants you to learn and be able to apply those into the next seasons of your life. Man, this sun is hitting. Yeah, be able to apply them into the next season of your life, so that therefore you can use your testimony to help other people. But I'm just chatting with y'all. I hope everybody's having a smooth day. And quick update, want to let y'all know that I'm good. I'm super blessed. Even though I was going through that season, I have not had any physical harm done to me, any mental or psychological harm done to me. But spiritually, I have transformed into a stronger version of myself, who is able to carry the blessing into my next season. Real estate is not dead. It has been refined. I have not failed. I have actually been set up on a very solid foundation. I have more awareness, more wisdom, more structure than I ever had before. And I know that this is the same for you, and I know that you will keep going forward in your journey so that you can be a light to somebody else. I hope y'all have a good day and an even better weekend. Peace. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, and share.